Konami everybody, how's everyone today? First thing first, my apology for everyone that I had woke up so late. Fell asleep earlier when I'm supposed to be doing the night stream 1 hour earlier. Konami, how's your day? Oh my god, the one thing is that I fell asleep earlier, which I was supposed to start my stream like 1 hour earlier, so it's really something that I'm supposed to, I need to give my apology to everyone. So in any case, tonight's topic, I think based on the title everyone should be able to understand is that tonight I am gonna talk about my life in Japan. Mostly it's based on my take and experience having stayed in Kyoto for 5.5 years, and at the same time, let's just say that I had my own I meet my own share of Japanese people and understand from them, and I mean like actually I was kind of into talking about Japanese stuff like lately, and if anyone noticed about the previous night when I was talking about Japanese stuff, is like, yeah, there is a lot of misconception and misunderstanding about the people in Japan. And the funny thing is that even like there are a few things that a lot of people tend to misunderstand about like Kyoto people as by the other Japanese people, you know. Okay, the one thing a lot of people tend to come to like, let's start with Kyoto people, Japanese Kyoto people. If anyone asks about and most Japanese people in Japan, the one thing that a lot of how to say it? Let me move myself a little bit here. Okay, the one thing is that a lot of often more than not, right? There is time when you give a survey to a Japanese people and they will ask which prophet or more like which part of Japan do you find the people stay in that province to be much scary or to be someone that you don't like to be with, and often not more than not they will actually reply Kyoto first most of the time, and I can see the reason why. There are actually stuff like people saying that the Kyoto people are actually very scary, or either they can either say that they are kind of two-faced, and there are some people will say they are too tradition. But the thing is that when we talk about all these things, is that most often more than not there are traditional people, there are scary people as well as people who are very like kind of two-faced in other part of Japan. It's not just all Kyoto. It's just that when you and the one thing is that especially like when we are talking about, and I think I thought about people having like speaking about we got different Japanese language in different part of Japan. Like there are like this one is really true, and people tend to think that oh Japanese when you go to Japan you just speak Japanese and everything is standardized. No, Japan is I know Japan to other countries compared to other countries is very small. But for me, who came from a very very small country like Singapore, the one thing is that a lot of people tend to misunderstand about how big Japan, technically how small Japan is. But actually, Japan is pretty big in my eyes, as well as at the same time that there are many different prophets in Japan. There is Osaka, there is Kyoto, there is Tokyo, there is Nagasaki, there is Hokkaido, Satama, Kyushu, and then in Kyushu there is also in Kyushu itself is actually got like Kumamoto, all these small places, and often more than not they got their own slang of Japanese, which you can say is their dialect, or you can say they got their own dialect. 晴天到是上晚上好，早上好，午安好，今天还好吗？the one thing is that about the language in Japan, right, is that often more than not, some people will actually blend Kyoto Japanese to be one of the hardest to learn, and it's really not very easy for me. I had a very hard time to learn Japanese, especially in Kyoto, because the way they use their Japanese the way they speak tend to be slightly different. But having stayed in Japan especially in Kyoto for 5+ years, got used to it, and it's not that hard. And often more than not, a lot of people tend to misunderstand it about how some of the word is actually different, but it's not wrong. Like in many parts of Japan, they will say "arigatou gozaimasu," which meant thank you. But in Kyoto, there are people who will say "okini," which means "arigatou gozaimasu," and "okini" is actually mean thank you very much. It's just some people tend to misunderstand what's that meaning, and not even Japanese people will understand what it means for some places. 我很快乐哦，今天很快乐，有好事发生吗？虽然我现在还是在用英文说这本的生活。The one thing is that about in Japan, especially Kyoto, is that as much as there is the Kansai band, especially the thing is that it's kind of little bit what differently for Kyoto thing is that on my take on Kyoto, is that they tend to use they can be a bit sarcasm in it if you are not careful. 恭喜恭喜中于幸好还没有玩哦，幸好你抽到，恭喜恭喜，好好的玩它吧，我相信你会很喜欢用它的。What was I? Oh yes, about the Kyoto. Okay, the one thing is that a lot of people tend to not understand about Kyoto is that in Kyoto there are times when they can actually be time when they can be two-faced. When I say two-faced, it's not really mean in a bad way. It actually can mean in a good way. It's because for like let's say I think I talk about this a lot in my stream, which is kind of like weird, but often more than not, like when we talk about we are actually talking about Kyoto people who wish to indirectly tell you something. Like for example, あなたの受け時計は綺麗ですよね, which translate as your wristwatch is pretty. Normally, especially for me who actually learned this from the textbook, is that you should reply thank you very much and it's a gift from someone or you bought yourself. Normally it's like for example for my case it's like it's a present for my mom, so I have to say ありがとうございます母からの誕生日 present です Apparently in Kyoto that's not how you should reply. If they meant it in like if you kind of have to read the mood in one way, but it can actually mean that when they want you to look at your own watch and say and look at the time itself, because it's often more than not they wish not to talk or continue to talk at all, because sometimes the talk can be too long, they wish to get away or something. It's like they want to discontinue the conversation and they say so normally if they start it at the start of this at the conversation, it mean that they really mean that it's a very nice watch. But if they said it after like maybe a few minutes of conversation, then it's actually mean that they are trying to change the topic and they want to go away. Because 因为我抽到5星的不是小 Klee 是 Mona 我抽到了我抽到一个5星在那个炸弹小孩，但是不是小孩出来，反而是一个大女孩出来，也会用魔术，又是水星，又会跑很快的那一个魔呢。但是可莉不要回来，第一次抽到金，第二次抽到金，第三次抽到魔呢。克莉可真的是不想回来，不想回来呀。我真的是不注定抽到它就对了。不用担心啦，我也是无所谓啦。Okay, in any case, the one thing is that if anyone, especially in Japan, if anyone in Kyoto, if anyone say あなたの受け時は綺麗ですよね. Yeah, mostly is actually what they are trying to say. Your time is out. Please go away. This they will only say this during mid conversation. So if it say at the start of conversation, you need to check is it they are asking for visual or not, and make sure that you have a visual or something or not. If not, most of the time they will say it's often more than not is mean yeah, time is up. Please go away. Another thing about Japan, I think a lot of people tend to have a misunderstanding, right? Is I think so. I say this about now. I think I remember Kat asked me that she want to know about this. Let me drop her a message to see whether she is interested to learn about this first. I'll just see whether she interested or not. But one thing, let's talk about because I'm actually wanted to talk about the working condition as well as some of the thing why Japanese tend to like to use old technology. 甜点法师都不用担心，我继续用那个摩拿也是好的，摩拿也是很强的哦。反正我已经是2星了，所以它也是不错啦。只是要看我怎样把摩拿变强罢而已。Actually, the one thing is that I was going to talk tonight about the concept of why Monday night walkaways. This thing is a huge thing in many parts of Japan, as well as and it kind of linked to the part about the working condition in Japan. Like how to say it? 特別呢想講一面好笑啲。It's like one thing a lot of people tend to misunderstand about Japan working condition because I know in some people mindset is like Japanese love to use old technology. It's not true and at the same time it's not false. I already know how's your day. No, I'm actually asking, have you called in your friend? Still doesn't want kissy. I'm saying about how's your friend. Have you called in to chat with her? Okay, thank you for that much. I'm not sure. But he's shooting. Let your cat chew at your leg, and then you just pet and stroke your cat or something like that. Now you can do your own style. Don't worry. I mean, like for me, I'll be just talking about Japanese life in Japan, all these things, and I'm not sure should I start it now or not though. I mean, that was someone trying to listen to the conversation about life in Japan. Oh, nice. It's not often that I always hear you saying that you took your shower. Always take your shower, that's a nice thing. Okay, the one thing about Kyoto, in Kyoto, let's just start it anyway. So the one thing is that life in, especially for like life in Japan, right? The bubble turn blue. I mean, it might be due to from the remaining hair dye from your. It might be the remaining hair dye from your midnight blue hair dye, something like that. But okay, in any case, okay, the Monday night issue in Japan, right? I mean, like if anyone check about, there is actually a video called created by someone called a bot in Japan, and he was talking about biggest slice in Japan, and one of them he was talking about old technology used in Japan. I give my take on okay. I give my take, and I'll just quote it here. I won't show it, but I will just quote it. What I wrote is that wait, just a minute, yeah. Okay, for me, I kind of had a back and forth with one person with a name in Russian, and I think that's a huge red flag. But in any case, uh, the one thing is that I actually comment. One thing is that one of the things that a lot of Japanese people tend to use old technology is actually kind of like that it's still a thing. Old technology, like example, like right now is already let's say iPhone. Not right now is already iPhone 13, right? The one thing is that a lot of people tend to misunderstand is that in many places around, like especially for Singapore, right? When iPhone 12 came out, you hardly find iPhone 7, 8, 9. But when iPhone and then you only got 11 is really getting to be eliminated, and then iPhone 12 is the live stream. And then when you get iPhone 13 come out, iPhone 11 and iPhone 12 suddenly out of no, it became unpopular and you hardly able to find it. It's more like you can't find iPhone 11, iPhone 12 when the 13 came out in Singapore. So the one thing is that a lot of people tend to misunderstand about the phone getting sell in especially in Singapore is that the technology change is really very fast in Singapore. They eliminate a lot of old technology. It's like they became unpopular, and you won't see people holding iPhone. You can still see people sometimes hold iPhone 10, iPhone 11, iPhone 12, but in Singapore, but you don't get to see those technologies being sold in Singapore. It's like they are trying to eliminate such a technology, despite them still being a good alternative and yet in Japan you can actually able to find out to iPhone set, like you can buy at a second-hand shop at a very very cheap price, where you can actually get iPhone 7, iPhone 8 in working condition at a second-hand shop. It's still in working condition. And the one thing is that it's not that they want to keep the technology. It's just that in Japan, there is a lot of second-hand shop, and second-hand clothes shop, and sometimes second-hand furniture shop. There is actually second-hand furniture shop, mostly cater for students and maybe people who wish to get cheaper furniture, as well as actually technology where they sell they actually sell like second-hand computer, second-hand mobile, second-hand tablet, a lot of second-hand stuff. And the reason for that is mostly came to the word Montai 9. It's like the one thing a lot of people tend to not understand about Montai 9 in Japan is that it's really a very 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 big thing. In the sense is that if the thing is still in working condition, as in still can work and still be used, to them they will just sell it. They will really sell it instead of throwing it away or keeping it somewhere. It's that they will sell it or give it away and then let another person use it. It's like there is a saying where a man trash is another man treasure, and in this case they really kind of like make it a sense that the second-hand culture in Japan is really a thing, and it's really come from the word Montai 9, where they don't think that it's suitable to be thrown away unless the thing is really really spoiled. And even for me, I didn't switch out to any iPhone. I keep using iPhone 7 for around 4 years, and so before I start switching to iPhone 11. And mind you, when I changed to 11 is that I was debating, so I get iPhone 12 at that time. We just came out for a few months already. And I didn't actually think about getting a new iPhone at that iPhone 12. I was like, really? So I pay a bit more for get an iPhone 12? And right at the end, I was like 7 to 11, 7 to 11. Okay, might as well get iPhone 11. Okay, just a minute. Let me go and wash my hair for a while. the one thing about Montai Night in Japan is that often more than not, I would say that the Japanese had a funny style of saying Montai Night, and often more than not, it depend on the person you come across. Um, because there are actually a few Japanese I come across where they don't even mind throwing a few, new stuff away. But actually, it depends on the one thing is that the work in, when I say working condition, I actually reply the person, like the person was actually going and say like there was actually someone who replied to my comment and saying that no, they use old technology because Japanese is extremely conservative and people on high position lose their job when they die from old age. Like, why it fair? I had no idea what this person is trying to type. Like, oh, high people on high position lose their job only when they die. Dude, there are people who retire in Japan, and retire in Japan is such a thing, you know. They don't actually lose their job after from old age or they die. It's more like when they retire, they will get extra money from retiring, you know. They get actually additional bonus from retiring, and that bonus tend to be stuff. And the one thing is that a lot of people didn't know is that when you retire from the company, you still get a freaking big bonus from the company, as well as earning being given additional salary even after you leave, you know. Like, what is this guy trying to type, for goodness sake? But the one thing is that there are actually still older people working in Japan, and often more than not is they choose to work, and it's very part of their life where they want to work. But that doesn't mean that all old Japanese people like to work. I had come across a few. I mean, like in Kyoto, the place I staying is like most of them are very very old, and they are actually retirees. And they also actually told me like a lot of new technology stuff, even though for their old age, like seriously. So the one thing is that it's not about conservative, it depends on the person you come across, and often more than not, right, I have come across a few nice people myself, so I actually learn from them. And the thing is that I actually reply to the same person, like I have speak to Japanese people since I'm staying in Kyoto. It is one of the places where they hold tradition the most. And I mean, I've spoken to even old people like I mentioned earlier who use iPhone, smartphone, or whatever they call it, and they don't mind the new technology. And yet when I reply this idiotic person just said, "Are you serious? Do you honestly think Japanese people openly tell you, oh, we are retrograde, we are afraid of new technology who are..." Oh, for F's sake, just shut up, this idiot guy. I think this guy really like don't understand anything about in Japan. Is that I have come across, like, the funny thing is that there was okay, this happened just like a few weeks ago, where I actually, like, the friendly old man who live across my house is like, I was like, he got news. There was a new apps that talk about hotspot or maybe populous place in Kyoto, and there was an app to say that if you go and visit this place, you can get a bookmark, and then that you have to collect stamp in that area by going to that place, and then you kind of like checking your phone, and your phone will indicate, oh, you have reached this place, you got a stamp. The funny thing is that I didn't know there was such an app, and I had no idea how to use the app. But the old man actually taught me how to use it. He taught me how to download it. He taught me how to open it, how the app thing to take note. He taught me every single thing, and this old man is really really nice. And the funny thing is that a lot of people think that a lot of old people can't use that new technology. Is that when I actually ask them, they say that it's about Montai Night. Often more than not, the answer is always Montai Night. And when I say Montai Night, is that what always is that when the thing is old and it's still in working condition, they will not replace it until it actually spoil. When the thing spoil, will they replace it? Or due to huge changes in the real life situation where they have to change it. And often more than not, right, fax machine. A lot of people think that about fax machine is something they won't replace, but the thing is, for fax machine, most of the fax machine are actually fax machine in a photocopy machine or a fax machine in as a there is also a phone, a house phone. Like basically, it's either a house phone that there is also a fax machine or a photocopy machine that is also a fax machine. It's a combination. It's not like the old when it's just only meant to be used as a fax machine, you know. They call it a fax machine, but the thing is that there are often more than not. It's like the fax machine can be used as a phone or it's a combination of a photocopy machine. There is no fax machine alone. And yet a lot of people have a misunderstanding that Japan only use fax machine. The thing is that it's a combination of two stuff at the same time, and they even if they don't use the fax, it's like they have the fax machine. They in the past they may use it a lot, but right now they don't really use it a lot, you know. Like even in my even in a few workplaces I went to, they always have a fax machine, and when I ask them do they use it a lot or not, it's like no, everything digital. The only time when they only use fax machine is when the digital fail, right? Like for example, there is no network and they need to fax they have to send an email the document, but they have the hard copy, and in the digital one is kind of spoiled, so they actually need to send a hard copy. So in the end, they just fax it over. That is only when they can't send by wireless, because sometimes in some places the wireless just couldn't send. They couldn't detect so it's like it's a second alternative, like a second route in the case the main route fail. So it's not like they always use the fax machine in Japan. It's just that they keep it in the case that like emergency or whatsoever that you need to use it. But often more than not, I don't ever hear from many people using about fax machine in Japan myself. I mean, I used to learn how to use a fax machine back in Singapore, and I know how to use it. But in Japan, when I asked few of them, do they ever use it? Is that hard? It's not. They don't use it. Is the chance of using it right now is actually not a lot. Maybe in some workplace they might still use it, but often more than not, it's no longer such a situation, and it depends on the company itself. Some company who tend to use fax machine a lot, then they will still continue to use fax machine as a alone. But that doesn't mean that many office doesn't use computer now. They often more than not, they will, even they don't own the big computer, they still own a freaking laptop to be used. So there are actually it depends on the workplace as well as the condition of the technology. But often more than not, like when I go to my school where every teacher don't have some of the teacher will have a computer, some of the teacher will use a laptop, and when you see a fax machine, you're trying to find a fax machine, it's like somewhere in the corner and no one think about it. It's like, yeah, they have the fax machine, the very old fax machine, but no one touch it or no one ever use it at all unless they require it. So it's often not, or more than not, it's like they just don't throw it away. And it's just something somewhere there. So, and when asked like, why not throw it away? At least you can save space. But the thing is that if the thing is still working, and you won't know you might use it in the future, so why throw it away? So they won't throw the thing away as long as it is still working. And they only replace the stuff when it really spoil. And often more than not, like I had come across like they don't really change, like even like the okay, like, this one is happened at the one of the at the Japanese restaurant I work at. when I first worked there, the they have Japanese when they do dishwashing. Often most of the restaurant I come across, okay, and there are actually around maybe out of 10 I would say around eight of them would actually have a dishwashing machine. The dishwashing machine is basically a dishwasher where where you most of Japanese will like wash by hand first and then place the dish with soap and then place it in the dishwasher to wash it out, like sterilize it or whatsoever. In one of the restaurant I work in, a Japanese restaurant, the dishwashing machine is quite old already, and often more than not is like I just wash the dish, put in the tray and then push it in and then let the water spray to wash away the soup. So the purpose of the machine, it wasn't to wash the dish, it's more like to use the water to spray onto the wash dish plate or whatsoever, and a bowl or whatever, spoon or this thing to wash away the soup on it. And the one thing about that dishwasher was that it got a frosty leaf, a frosty cover. Basically, that you have to when you leave the cover after washing, and close the cover, the pump that hold the leaf is really faulty. It keep on going down. It cannot go up and down. It will, if you try to leave it out, you drop down. It is really that faulty. But the thing is that it's still working. It's not. Some people will say it's spoiled already. You should change it. Yeah, but the thing is that it's still. When I say it's still in working condition, yeah. When you cover it, it's still working, right? So what the boss did is what the boss did was that they placed a hood at the top, and the string. So basically is that when you lift the leaf out, you just make sure the leaf catches the hood and then let the hood hold on to the cover of the dishwasher. So it's very hard to say this. Let me try to see whether I can find it or not. Okay, I found it. And let me move myself here. Or maybe I can stay here. Then I share the screen instead of the... Okay. So basically, it's something like the machine is something like this. The one that I use is different, but it's something like this. This kind of dishwasher. So if you leave the thing out, it'll become something like you can leave the thing out and it's to wash the dishes. So it's something like this. When you leave, you have to leave when you leave the leaf out, the thing will hold on. The cap will stay there, and then when you need to wash it, you just cover it down so you push the tray in and then you push it down and then you wash it. The thing is that when I work at that restaurant, the whole top is 40, but the internal it can still wash the dishes normally. So basically, as long as it's, and the thing is that when I say it's working in condition, because the thing is that when you cover it up, it still wash, and then when you leave it out, it just couldn't stay at the cap cannot stay at, it will keep on falling down. So you just, what the boss did is he just bring a hood tie to the ceiling, and then make sure that when you leave it out, you just make sure that the handle, that handle grab hold to the ceiling hood, and that's all. And often more than not, we always a few times when the cap keep on slamming down on its own, but yeah, it's still in working condition. The internal is still working, and they don't change it because like I said it's still in working condition. And they didn't even change it like 4 year, 5 year, despite having that issue. It's like, to them, they just, one thing is that they will say it's Takai. Often more than not, they will actually reply it's very expensive, Takai. Which means expensive in Japan. But at the same time, they say it's なんかちょっともったいないよ. It's like they also think that it's a もったいない. It's because the machine is still workable. The thing is, the machine is still workable, so that is often more than not, right? They won't throw it away that fast. It's like they really want to work the machine to its death, you know. So unless the machine die, and they won't think about they won't even think about replacing it, because if there's a repairman, they'll ask the repairman, can it be repaired? And if they say yes, can it be repaired, they will just repair the internal and then just use it on its own. But after like there was one time when I thought that they won't replace the machine. Like a lot of people think that, oh, the machine, even if it's spoiled, they will ask they will just ask someone to come and repair it. If anyone asks me, I also believe it. But the thing is that just a few months ago, they replaced the whole machine. Like seriously, they replaced the whole machine. And then when I went back, they asked me to help out, and I went back to help out. I was kind of shocked to see the same like it was a whole new dishwasher machine, and I was like kind of shocked. The pump was much powerful. The cover was not 40, so I don't need to worry about leaving the thing up and down. It's like the boss. I was like, did the boss replace a new dishwasher machine? And they told me that, oh, the old one spoiled already, so they replaced it. And they say it's expensive, but at the same time, it's like they say the old one cannot be repaired. The main point was the old one cannot be repaired. That's why, like I say, unless the thing is really worked to its depth, other than that, there's often more than not, they will not replace the thing at all. It's like they have to wait until the thing spoiled and unrepairable. Will they replace the old technology or the old stuff or whatever the thing need to be replaced with? So often more than not, right? It's not about using new technology or old technology in Japan. It's that it depends on the situation, and unless there is a require for new change. Other than that, I often more than not, they don't add in new change. Like even the one thing is that like for me who came from Singapore, takeaway, right? Takeaway is basically buying food and then having packed away so that you can eat at home or at any other places. In Japan, it's actually not a thing. I know a lot of people will be saying there's a convenience store where they sell bento, noodles or sandwich. It's like, yes, they do have this inconvenience store, but I'm saying, and in McDonald's you can have takeaway, Burger King takeaway or KFC takeaway, but you do not hear like Ichiran ramen takeaway, like ramen takeaway. You never, there is no such thing in before the coronavirus. You don't hear stuff like, oh, I want to have a takeaway from. If I like to eat Ichiran ramen, I want to take away. No, they don't give you takeaway. The only takeaway is they sell you their version of like instant noodles, the cup noodles. If the shop is have that kind of stuff, they don't they don't have a like takeaway where and it wasn't such a thing at all until the coronavirus issue where and before that right Uber Eat. Like funny thing was that I remember that time when before coronavirus, Uber Eats was trying very hard for a few months to set out in Japan. Like they always have a lot of people who give out brochure about it. Use Uber Eats. But the thing is that there was not much place who wish to have something called takeaway. Like even Matsuya and like Matsuya and Nakao, some of the Japanese fast food, yaoi, all these they do have takeaway, but it's not that popular at all. And often more than not, it's like people tend to eat in the store. They prefer to eat in the store, not bring it back home and eat. Even though when the shop actually offers such a thing, and in the end, it's like most people tend to forget they have such an offer. Even peace and often more than not, it's only the Western, most of the Western stuff food that tend to have the takeaway. And like even when you want to buy, if you go to sushi shop to buy sushi, yep, they have the takeaway for you, or you eat or you can eat at home. But the thing is that it's a whole new different meaning when you want to eat like ramen or maybe katsudon or oyakodon, like, or even curry rice. Like there is not that there wasn't such a thing before the coronavirus, and often more than not that Uber it wasn't that popular at all. So the thing is that what caused Uber Eats to become such a thing to the point that there are competition for it now. The thing is because the coronavirus caused people unable to eat outside. That people can't eat their favorite food in the store before the coronavirus. It's like they're afraid of spreading the virus. At the same time, they don't want to even gain the virus themselves. So what happened is that people start to realize that takeaway is a thing. Like even when one of the restaurant that American restaurant I work, they have takeaway, but it wasn't a thing. And in the end, during the coronavirus, they decided to sell burger like takeaway hamburger. It wasn't a thing until they decided that takeaway should be an alternative, and it became a thing at the time before it shut down. So takeaway wasn't a like seriously it was during the coronavirus in 2000, and it only happened in 2020 and 2021 that they start having something like takeaway in Japan. How's your day? Sorry I didn't went to your singing podcast. I saw your podcast, but I was going to start my podcast though. And also, one thing, I went to eat at the German restaurant in Kyoto, and I ate the grilled German sausage. I eat the grilled German sausage. The taste is really nice though. I would just say it that way. The only thing is that I kind of surprised how to say it. The sausage was very big. Actually, how to say it? The herb taste is kind of different from a normal sausage though. As in, when I say big, it's not like gigantic big. It's more like it's longer than I expected though. because in Japan they sell the smaller. They always tend to, you don't really get to find long sausage. Do you know that in Japan they tend to sell smaller sausage because they want to cut it into the point where they can make the taco looking sausage. So a lot of sausage when I buy in most supermarket is the small type one. So they don't really have the longer one that is, you don't find them that easily. They do sell it in some supermarket, but often more than not, I don't see it often. Yeah, it's the long. That's why when I say big, it's not really that gigantic big. It's actually long though. It's really a different feeling. And also right now, just in case you need to know, I'm actually talking about my life in Japan and about some situations, about some misconception, as well as some my opinion on Japanese stuff. Like earlier when I say like I was talking about why Japanese is still using old technology. I mean, like there was actually someone who actually there was a video called created by a bot in Japan, and the person was talking about Japanese love to use old technology. And the thing is that I stay in especially in Kyoto, where it's the most traditional place in Japan. And the one thing is that I had actually asked them quite a few of them, like why old technology. And the thing I was like, they always have a mentality called montainai, which translates as what a waste. It's like the Japanese feel like if the thing is still working, why replace it? Like fax machine, and the funny thing is that fax machine is still a thing in Japan, and a lot of people have a misconception like fax machine. Japanese love to use fax machine. The thing is that fax machine, right, is actually a combination of either a house phone or a photocopy machine, and often more than not, they only use the fax machine when they need it. But other than that, they normally just use the photocopy machine of it or the phone version of it, and hardly see them use the fax machine at all. I mean, like there are times when they use the fax machine is only when they don't have when the place or the shop don't own a computer, and when they don't own the computer, then they use the fax machine. But other than that, and also like I mentioned earlier, unless when they need to send document and the wireless kind of fail, and then they have to use the fax machine. But other than that, yeah, I just find it weird that a lot of people think to say that Japanese don't like to replace old technology. It's like earlier I was saying like the shop that I work in, they don't replace the dishwasher until it's spoiled. And the reason is like the cover was spoiled already, and yet they don't want to replace it. And when I ask them, they say, oh, it's still working, so there's no point of replacing it. It's like as long as it's still in working condition, they won't replace it. So in Japan, if anyone asks about Japanese whether they want to replace old stuff, it's that unless the stuff is like spoiled to the point that it cannot be repaired, then they will ask you to replace a new one. And it's the same thing for my case, that when I got my iPhone 7, I used iPhone 7 for 5 years. I never replaced it, and I actually have it repaired twice, like in Japan, you know. I didn't have it. I mean, when I went to the repair shop, I asked them, can you replace the battery, because my battery was kept on dying. So they, oh yes, I replaced it once. So I used the same iPhone 7 for another 2 additional year. Like I used it, I think it was 2 years or 3 years, and then I replaced the battery and then used it for another 2 years. And the reason why I finally replaced it was at the time was the charger port, the port, because it's iPhone 7, it's not wireless. So I know like right now most of the iPhone 7 is iPhone 10, 11, 12, 13 is all wireless. But the thing is that iPhone 7 is not wireless. So I was using the charging port and I couldn't charge the port because the port there was a thing issue. So I actually went to ask them and they say that the phone has spoiled already, the port has spoiled already. And I asked them can they repair it. They have the part, but when they try to repair it, they realize that it's irreplaceable. It's like it cannot be repaired, and they actually finally say this one to me, say, please get a new one. It's like the funny thing is that they never actually tell you to they never really say like it's still repairable or whatsoever. It's like they actually recommend me to get a new one. Like I was like kind of shocked at that time, and at the same time I can understand because I was like I used iPhone 7 for 4-5 years already, and it was about time for me to change it. But the thing is that I was like, maybe if it can be repaired, I thought that if it can be repaired, it can still be used. So I don't mind getting a new one at the time. But the thing is that I was like testing out, see whether I can still have it repair or not. So when I actually asked them to whether they can repair, they say that no. They initially they were actually not against it. You know, the funny thing is that I thought they would look at it, it's iPhone 7, go and get a new one. They never really say that. Or they will try they try to see whether they can repair it. Then after that, 1 hour later, they call me and they say, sorry sir, we can't repair it. We recommend you to get a new phone. And it's actually a thing in Japan, and it happened to me myself, which actually made me realize how Mondainai culture in Japan is such a huge thing. It's to the point where people tend to miss. A lot of people think that people in Japan is conservative, they don't like to use new technology. The thing is that, like I mentioned before, as long as the thing can be repaired, they will not ask you to replace a new one at all until when the thing is really irreparable. So the funny thing is that when they actually say we are very very sorry that we can't repair it, but maybe you should consider replacing a new one. A lot of, often more than not, you don't hear them recommending asking you to get a new one at all. And I was like, and after that, it took me around 1-2 weeks before I changed my iPhone 7 to iPhone 11. At the time, it was already iPhone 12, you know. iPhone 12 was released for a few months already, and I was like, thinking, should I get iPhone 11 or should I get iPhone 12? I even called my mom to discuss with her, and okay, I will tell this joke again later. The thing is that I was like thinking 11 or 12. I even asked some of my Japanese friends 11 or 12, and in the end I go with the idea because from iPhone 7 to iPhone 11, because 7-11. So at the same time, iPhone 11 was actually considered cheap and have the price lowered. So I actually, okay, let's get iPhone 11. So I changed from my iPhone 7 to iPhone 11, which right now I've been using it for streaming as well as use it for doing a lot of stuff. But the funny thing is, just a few months later, my mom told me she want to change her phone because my mom was using a Huawei phone, and she decided to change her phone to an iPhone because at her workplace everyone is using an iPhone, and it's recommended to use iPhone if possible at the place because it will be much recommendable. So she told me that how's my take on iPhone 11. And in Japan at that time, I can still get I can go to a second-hand shop to buy an iPhone 7, 8, 10, or even 11 at a cheaper price. And a second-hand shop in Japan is really a thing where you can buy a lot of old stuff in Japan. You can buy old laptop, you can buy old tablet, you can buy old stuff. Everything second-hand at a cheaper price in Japan. And like I mentioned way earlier, is that there is second-hand furniture shop catered for students, where students want to buy furniture at a cheaper price, or they even sell second-hand clothes where a lot of people who have too much clothes, they wish not to wear it and they sell it because they don't want to throw it away. They don't throw the clothes away instead of donating away, they either give to other people or they sell it to a second-hand shop. It's such a thing. And yet the funny thing is that my mom, who stay in Singapore, told me about son, and you bought iPhone 11, right? How's your thing? And I was like, I was using iPhone 11 for a few months already, just like 1-2 months only. When I say a few months, it's just only like 1-2 months. I was like, yeah, it's actually nice. I like the color, I like the touch of it, and the size is good enough. So I told my mom, yeah, you can, if you are changing iPhone 11, okay, go and get it. I think it's good enough. You don't need to get 12. Yeah, how wrong I was when I forgot it was Singapore. The one thing is that a lot of people have this. Okay, I think as much as I'm talking about life in Japan, I'm going to talk a little bit about Singapore. Is that in Singapore, you don't find old technology that easily. You can find old technology in Japan, but you don't find old technology in Singapore. So for example, like what I mean by that is that in Singapore, when iPhone, let's say for example, iPhone 11 came out, they eliminate iPhone 7, iPhone 8. When iPhone 12 came out, they eliminate iPhone S and 11. Like basically, you can't find iPhone 11 after when iPhone 12 came out. So see where I'm going? So what happened was, my mom wanted to replace her phone to iPhone 11. She went to a phone shop, asked for iPhone 11. They got one in display, but the thing is that it's a display set. So they say, and they go and check, iPhone 11 sold out, man. We only got the latest one, iPhone 12. So my mom actually like think for 1 week, and finally she go and get it because she need a phone as soon as possible. So she changed to iPhone 12. And I didn't know about it until like a few more weeks later when my mom called, when I checked with my mom, and my mom just said that son, I changed my phone to iPhone 12, and I was like, huh? I was like, huh? Mom, didn't you tell me that you're gonna change our phone to iPhone 11 too? And she was like, yeah, iPhone 11 sold out. And I was like, wait, what? And my mom just said that she used iPhone 12 now, and I was like, oh, no. I was like, Mom, let's make it a how should they? Like, I asked my mom why. It's like, the funny thing is that you guys have to imagine when my, like, imagine this, like, my mom keep asking me to, okay, just use iPhone 11. It's cheaper. Now it's cheaper and it's also still good. Why change to iPhone 12? So I was like, okay. And then my friend, some of my Japanese friends say that iPhone 11 is also good enough, so I changed to iPhone 11. So 7 to 11. So I changed from iPhone 7 to iPhone 11. And then my mom just slapped me in the face indirectly by getting iPhone 12 a few months later. And I was like, yeah, quick job cause you need to sleep. Okay, go and have a good night rest. Make sure to rest out well later, okay? And then you wake up early in the morning, feel very, very nice and fresh. So the one thing is that in Japan, you can still find iPhone S, iPhone 11, iPhone 12. But in Singapore, right now, when they are starting iPhone 13, and you hardly find iPhone 11 anymore. There's no such. I don't think there is such a thing or such thing called iPhone 11 in Singapore anymore. But iPhone 11 is still a thing in Japan, and yeah, it's kind of weird though. Like in Japan, they still hold a lot of old. Technically, like iPhone 11 is still like it's just only a few years back, and yet people say it's old stuff already, but yet it's still in a working condition. And I have seen a lot of them being sold at second-hand shop. Like when I go to a second-hand store, I can see one whole shelf of second-hand iPhone 11, iPhone 12 that is still in working condition, and you can get them at a cheaper price if you don't want to buy them at the same price. It's like, yeah, it's actually a thing in Japan though. And there is also the thing is that in Japan, a lot of Japanese people who love to do something like they buy, especially for games. PC game console. It's like PC game no longer is because everything is on the stream. But before like PS4 game, PS5 game, Nintendo Switch game, and you hear all this, but they still have Nintendo DS game, they still have PS3 game, they still have Nintendo Wish game. They still sell them. And it's actually amazing that they even sell the console if you really want it. And they really have a lot of old game in good condition, which is kind of shocking because it's like if it's like retro game moment, you know, like there is the Nintendo GameCube. Oh, when I saw it, I was like, oh god, my Nintendo GameCube back in Singapore already spoiled. Don't know how many years already. I was like, it's already. I left it somewhere in the safe in my house in Singapore, and I was like, I don't know what happened to it anymore. And yet in Japan, they still sell the game, and I was like, what the hell? It's still in working condition. It's really amazing. And if you go to buy television in Japan, if you guys go and take a look at the television, the cable behind the Japanese television, they still have the cable for the red, yellow, white color cable, you know. Like the old cable is not right now, everything is HDMI, every television is HDMI. But television in Japan, when you actually go and get it, they have the yellow, white, and red cable, the old cable. I was like, when I saw it, I was like, oh my goodness, they still have such a cable working. It's like it's still a thing in Japan, and the reason is that often more than not, it's actually just like around less than 10% of people is still using the cable. It's like they still have a working DCR tape video recorder. It's those called old school, let's say old technology stuff that is still considered in working condition. And often more than not, I'm actually, like I said, as long as the thing is still in working condition, they don't freaking care about throwing it away. It's like always amaze me, like always when I I was actually arguing with one guy on my in a comment where actually let me show it to you guys so that you guys can see it, see whether I can show it here. Okay, I think you guys can see on YouTube. So basically, I will just say it for everyone in reality is that I think I mentioned this is like I actually disagree with the person because I said I learned from the Japanese and understanding from the Japanese point of view is that if when it comes to understanding what a waste of Montai Night is that some people tend not to wish to get new stuff that fast because often more than not, right, some Japanese don't wish to spend that much money themselves, and as long as nothing big happen or the stuff are still in working condition, you still continue to see old technology in Japan. And it's really something that I mentioned in like I tend to mention a lot to a lot of people is that the Japanese will not replace their stuff as long as the thing is still in working condition. That is the reason why you can still find old game in Japan that is like a workable PS2, a workable Nintendo GameCube or DS or PSP also. They are all still in working condition, which is shockingly true. But at the same time, it depends on how I mean, like it depends on how they keep it for that long. At the same time, like I mentioned, as long as the thing is still in working condition, they can still sell it, they can still use it, it's still a thing in Japan. So often more than not, you won't see them get eliminated because they don't throw it away. Unlike in Singapore, where right now you don't find old tape recorder, you don't find small television, uh, anything that is you don't find CD in Singapore anymore. But in Japan, you can still CD is still a thing. And as long as people say go digital in Japan, as long as there is still a market for it, they will still keep it no matter what, because it's still in what I mentioned. They don't wish to replace it that fast, and at the same time, like I mentioned, they wish to keep the tradition, because the Japanese are pretty much I would say, instead of saying when the person say many people I call them the conservative type, I would say they love to keep their tradition like in a very nice way. And for me, right, I mentioned I use iPhone 7 for 4 to 5 years already. It's not that I don't want to replace it. Like I mentioned again, when the thing is still in working condition, I will not replace it. So I can see where the Japanese people are coming from, and it on and I even find it shockingly when they never even like when I ask them can my iPhone 7 repair, like I use my phone for like 4-5 years, they never even ask me how long your phone have been using. They even still say, oh, we'll do a check, because they can still freaking repair an iPhone 7. You kind of like that. If I ever make it to Japan, I will get some retro console and games. I guess you need to go to either these two places, Tenten Town in Osaka or Akihabara in Tokyo, because these two places is really the place where they keep all the retro stuff. From in Kyoto, I got a few places I know, but it's rare to find those kind of shop anymore, due to some of the shopping closed due to coronavirus. But I can assure you that last time I went to Osaka, they still have some of the shops still working, still there. And from what I heard from my Tokyo friend is that some of the there's a lot of shop closed, but some of the shop is still there, so you don't need to worry. It's still a gamer's dream. The gamer dream is still alive in Japan, because the funny thing is that as long as there's a market for it, they will still stay. As they try to stay alive. The only thing is that you won't get to see the Sega arcade shop or some of the place in Japan. But other than that, most of them are still alive, so you don't need to worry about that. Because the shop that I can say is like Maruka and the other one was it again? Suddenly I can't remember the second shop. Yeah, basically there is quite a few secondhand like I mentioned. If you go to those retro game shop, right, there is high chance, right, those game might be a second-hand console. They are still in working condition. You can try testing them out to see whether they still work or not, but you need to test them out first. If you can ask them whether you can test it out or not, and if they allow you, then it should be fine. But most of the place, you have to be very careful, because if you go to electrical shop, right, they don't sell those old console. But if you go to second-hand shop, they will have it. Because most of the time, those workable old console is mostly in the second-hand shop, because they place it in the second-hand store most of the time, and you can easily find them in those shops anyway. I have been to Tokyo, where actually my friend owned. I have stayed in Tokyo for 1 month. Like seriously, I stayed there 1 month myself, and I have been to Akihabara. Out of that 1 month, I had been there for around 10 days because of my friend, and I understand. I really know Akihabara at the back of my hand already. At that time, it's like I still remember a lot of the road, unless they changed the whole freaking map. If not, I can still remember some of the path, and it's easy to get lost. But other than that, it should be fine. And also one thing is that there is a lot of second-hand shop there, so I can still remember when I've been there in 2016, the winter period, 2015, 2016. What was that? Around that, yeah, I think it was around that period when I've been in, for one during the I visited Japan for the Christmas and the New Year period. Yep, I know a lot of people say don't go during that period, but I actually went there and stayed for 1 month to understand how's life in Japan can be. So I remember I went to the a few of the shop, and I actually at the time buy PS3 game, buy like some of the very nice PS3 game and PSP. And I was like, during that time they still have PSP game, and I was like, oh, I really want to buy the PSP. I was like, I really want to buy the PlayStation Portable. It was actually before PlayStation Vita, you know. And when I saw that those things that is still working, I was like, oh my goodness. The PSP was so good. Yes, definitely I would say PSP was one of the greater things that I ever played, because it's really something that I liked when I was young, and it's also I think I mentioned this in when I was playing the Project Diva the Hatsune Miku Project Diva Mega 39. In case you need to know, I just brought the Hatsune Miku Project Diva Mega 39 game, and I was playing the game. I was streaming the game on my YouTube, and I remember when I first played Project Diva, it was on a PSP, and when I think about PSP, it's like one of the all-time favorite, because it's also the time when I love to start playing with my friend Monster Hunter. I remember at the time there was a Monster Hunter Gen 3, and me and my friend will always hang out and we'll play Monster Hunter. Just go out, just bring our PSP, and then we were like, okay, let's play some Monster Hunter. Let's play some Monster Hunter. Or when I'm alone at home, I will play the Project Diva, and it's really one of my favorite all time when it comes to handheld console game, because before they remove it, like to replace it with PS Vita, because they want to have a touch screen apparently on it. But I would say that yeah, I still have a Vita, and it's not bad though. So it's just that when it came to PSP, yeah, I really like PSP a lot. It's really something that I used to play as a young child, and it's really nice. And in case anyone asks, when I say as a young child, it's more like as a young teen. But other than that, yeah, it's really something that I like a lot, and that's the reason why I decided to get the Project Diva, because it hit me in the nostalgic sense. And Monster Hunter, I have been following like Monster Hunter World, and right now I'm playing Monster Hunter Rise and Sunbreak. So I will be trying to aim for high master rank. Basically, I'll be rushing through the master rank in this weekend. So basically, I'll be doing that a lot. But in regard, it's like you can easily find a lot of old game in Japan, and the English saying that is one, like I mentioned earlier, a person trash is another man treasure. In Japan, they also take that to heart. So they believe that in Japan, like the funny thing is that in Japan, when a new game come out, right, you give them 1 or 2 weeks, the game will have a second hand. In some shop, they will sell the second hand of the game like 1 or 2 weeks later. Like example, like right now, if anyone asks me why when I was talking about Soul Hacker 2, the Shin Megami Tensei, why did I not get the game yet? Actually, I'm waiting for them to sell the second hand version of it. Actually waiting for them to sell the second hand version because you can get it at a cheaper price. It's like You give them like the one thing is that the Pokemon, the Nintendo game. You know, when I go to a game shop in called Edion in Japan, well, it's something like an electric shop. When I go to the game console area, there is the front side where they sell the first hand, everything is new game. So I see rows of Mario Kart, I see rows of Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, I see rows of Nintendo games. And then when I go further inwards, go to the back, that's where all the second-hand stuff is. And when I see all the second-hand stuff there, and my mind is like, they sell at a discount price because it's second-hand. And often more than not, you can save around up to you can save one for like 500 yen, 1000 yen, 2000 yen instead of getting the first hand. Takehiro-san, Kagami, how's your day? Right now I'm talking about 今ちょっと日本語の英語で日本の話ですけどIt's like you can like you can buy a at the front row Mario Kart at 7,000 yen. You go to the back second hand, they sell it at 5,000 yen. It's like you can save like 2,000, 3,000 yen. Might as well go and get the second hand because you are saving money. Yes, the funny thing is I'm talking about my life in Japan, especially in Kyoto, as well as some mentality about some Japanese is that people tend to have a misconception or misunderstanding about. But I mean, like if you go to Singapore, you don't find such thing easily now. You don't find second-hand stuff easily. But in Japan, where I go, they still have a huge section of second-hand stuff that you can easily find, and it's like they place all the first-hand stuff at the front, and then if you don't want to buy second half, you just go to the behind. It's much cheaper. You don't buy second-hand stuff in Japan. No, the thing is, the thing is, it depends on individual people, and often more than not, second-hand stuff are actually cheaper, and it's actually some of them actually like I mentioned earlier, they tend to like you give them 1 or 2 weeks. There are people who buy the game, play the game for 1-2 weeks, and then they sell it. So the thing is it's just only a few weeks old only. It's still in good condition. It's still in very nice condition. So if often more than not, if you go to Japan, why they tend to still have good conditioner game stuff is that because most of them are actually for second-hand stuff. Is that most of them are actually sold back to the shop like after 1-2 weeks after playing the game. It's like the Japanese just either they don't like the game, they finish the game, or they speedrun the game. Clover Sakame, how's your day? But when it comes to game, it's just weird for me. Like a lot of people tend to sell it very, very weird. You will never make it to Japan though. Don't give out hope. Don't give out hope so fast, though, Lalia-san. Just make sure that since you're doing singing, try making your voice popular, and then in future you can visit Japan but as a singer. You say you want to visit Japan as a singer, make yourself more popular. I believe you can do it. Have some hope though, Lalia-san. I know you can do it. Don't give out so fast. Big fright of brain. Then if you are afraid of plane, sleep during the flight. Don't give out hope. Don't give out hope so much. Always think that Ami-san always will be here supporting you. you live in Japan but now in Malaysia. I mean, like, I live in Singapore. I was raised in Singapore, and right now I'm staying in Japan though, especially in Kyoto area. The thing is that I know some like I know a lot of people think that secondhand stuff is a thing in Japan, but the thing is that okay, now I'm gonna say this one. I need to say this just in case because this is where a lot of people tend to misunderstand. A lot of people thought that Japanese will always buy the second-hand stuff, but from what I can tell you guys is that often more than not, right, those people who buy the second-hand stuff are people who actually are on who wish to live on a budget, or people who don't wish to buy who don't wish to get new stuff. Basically, they feel like they can't find the first-hand stuff, or they prefer to spend less money. So the funny thing is that a lot of people think that Japanese people love to get new stuff in Japan. The thing is that yes, there are Japanese people who get new stuff in Japan. Don't get me wrong. I mean, getting new stuff in Japan is actually a good thing, but considered a good thing by many Japanese. And the thing is that if you think about it, often more than not, right, those second-hand stuff I come across are mostly being sold to tourists. Like most of the time I always see people who buy the second-hand stuff are mostly tourists. And if we are talking about like figurine, like there is like figurine that is second-hand figurine, or even second-hand furniture shop, or second-hand computers. There are times when I see people who buy figurine or buy stuff. Is that people who buy it, right? Yeah, they will buy it, but they will like inspect it, like really inspect it to the point that do they want to buy it or not. And most of them, they will not buy it, especially the Japanese people, because they want to buy the new one. So if they are given the option, like getting a new one or an old one, often more than not, Japanese people will tend to get a new one. Okay. But for some people who are on budget, or when they don't have the money for it, or when they want to save money, then they will get the second-hand one, which is often more than not cheaper by a few percent than the new one. And the thing is that the price, right? The reason why I say why people tend to get a new one is that it depends on the item. Like for example, if Nintendo Switch, okay, let's say Nintendo Switch, because it's really one of the things that a lot of people tend to ask me whether in Japan should I get a new one or should I get a second-hand one. It depends. Like for Nintendo Switch OLED. The one I get, right, is the latest one. It's the new one. I actually work my ass out for my part-time, save the money, and use the money to buy a Nintendo Switch so that I can do my Ring Fit stream every day, as well as doing the Hatsune Miku game. So that is how I get my stream on. But the thing is that I got a new one. I actually get a new one, not a second-hand one, not an old one. It's a new one, a first-hand one. The thing is, when people ask me why do I choose a new one, why don't I save up the money and get the old one? The thing is, now you guys have to listen carefully, okay? The second-hand version of the same console that I got, if you go to a second-hand shop, they offer the price at 32,000 yen. But the first hand, if I buy it, is at 37,000 yen, which is a 5,000 yen difference. Okay, a 5,000 yen difference, which translate in if you guys think about it, 5,000 yen difference, you can get one new game. So it depends on whether you want to get a new game or not. But the reason why I get a new one is that 5,000 yen, a second hand, a console that had been touched by someone. I had no idea how long it had been, and then a new one that is just only manufactured out. So for me, obviously I don't mind forting that 5,000 yen and get a new one. You see where I'm going now, guys? Is that the reason why I always tend is, and also the warranty wise, the warranty, right? For the second hand, there is no warranty, but for the first hand, there's still a 1 year warranty. So it's like I'm paying 5,000 yen for a new one with a new one with a guaranteed 1 year warranty. Better than I'm paying less 5,000 yen where I get a second hand and no warranty at all. That's where things kind of go a bit hazy. It's a really hazy stuff really. So the reason why I get a new one is because like I mentioned, like Takehiro-san is that it's warranty wise as well as at the same time it's a new one because the price difference between a second hand and the first hand is not that far away. So it depends as well as depend on the individual because there is, like I mentioned, it depends on a lot of situation. But I can assure you guys, I do have a second-hand console, which is my PS4. My PS4, right, is a second-hand console. It's not a first-hand console. It's not a new one. It's a second-hand one. I bought my PS4 from a second-hand one, and it work harder and more part-time so I can buy. Yeah, definitely I'm trying to get more part-time if I can get. I mean, like if the more part-time I have, the more money I can get, and then the more stuff I can introduce in my stream. But I think the next thing I want to buy will be a PS5. If not, I'll try to get a new a new computer to stream though. Credit card. As for credit card, right? If I don't have a stable job, it's very hard to get a credit card from what I was told though. I mean like there's also I also need to get the Hancock. That's the thing. I don't have a Hancock a proper Hancock in Japan. I have one that I got from the Daiso one. I mean amazingly they have my surname, my kanji surname in Japan. Like basically for anyone you need to know is that you need to get open up a bank account you need an official Hanko, and they still use the traditional Hanko. You can't really use signature as a bank. You really have to own a Hanko to open up a bank account in Japan, and you have to like have a proper one and as for credit card it works differently because they want you to have a stable job, and if you're a foreigner it's very unlikely they will open out one for you. So for Japanese people definitely they'll open out easily, but when you are a foreigner it's very hard for us to open a credit card in Japan. So the only credit card I own is the one I'm using in Singapore. I got one. I've been using my Singapore credit card ever since a lot. And whenever I need money, I really use my Singapore credit card. That is only, and I hardly use that card in Japan because I tend to go cash. Tend to go in cash more than not. I mean it depends on the situation, but yeah, it's really not a thing. If possible, I'll try not to use credit card myself, to be honest, because I tend to prefer to like I earn the money. I tend to work in how long I have stayed? 5 year plus already. 5 years 6-7 months already. Really stay 5年半くらいかな。5年半くらい。It's like basically I stay for so long in Japan, and yeah, the one thing is that a lot of people tend to misunderstand about how long I stay in Japan, and yeah, I actually stay quite long though. So we're able to get the thing is that during the coronavirus. Okay, funny thing is about during the coronavirus, like I think I'll talk about my life in Japan is that the past 2 years, right, 2020 and 2021, let's say the year of the coronavirus, yeah, I can tell you guys it's really really bad though, like seriously bad. The one thing is that a lot of people tend to not understand is that when the way Japanese government handle the coronavirus is really really when I say seriously bad is that they don't know how to handle the situation. That's all I can say. Japanese government, like I have stayed here. Okay, the one thing is that what happened in Japan is that They had no idea. They had no idea how to handle. Yes, they had seriously zero. They had zero idea on how to handle pandemic. Like seriously, it was so frustrating when they handled the. It was like seriously so frustrating the way Japanese government handled the coronavirus. And when I say seriously very bad, is that it took a lot of people to force the Japanese government to actually cause a shutdown, you know. And the worst, funny thing is that in Kyoto, before the government tell everyone to shut down for 1 month, many shop in Japan, many boss in Japan choose to shut down their shop for way before the government give the signal, you know. It's like before the government say we are in a state of emergency, it's not 1 month, it's not like 1 day before, it's not like 1 week before, it's actually 2-3 weeks before the government tell everyone to shut down. Many shopping in Japan shut down. They actually tell the shop to take a rest. Like way before the government give that order, you know. That's just how worse the government handle the situation is. And unlike in Singapore, the one thing is that in Singapore, when they actually in Singapore there is something called the phases opening. So basically, what happened in Singapore when they reopen up, right? In Singapore, when they reopen up, there is phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Phase 1 basically happen is that allow one member of the family to go out to buy stuff. Phase 2 is 2% go out or 3% go out, and then phase 3 it's like they slowly have a crowd control. There is a crowd control of allowing people to go out. But in Japan, there's no phases 1, 2, 3. It's basically from 0 to 3. So what happened is during that 1 month when they say shut down, like Japan has shut down like three times already. Like seriously, they shut down 3 times. They asked everyone to stay at home like for 1 month, like 2 months, 3 months. Like in the total, I remember like 2020 which was seriously depressing because everyone stay at home like throughout the year. And then the reason why I say is the way they handle is very bad is because after the shutdown, right, when they say reopen, when they say reopen, what happened was every Japanese people just rush out. Every Japanese people just rush out of the house. It's like the next day, I remember. I remember the next day when I go to Gion Shijo and Teramachi Sanjo. Like I stay at Kyoto City. I stay just somewhere near to Kyoto City Hall, you know, guys. Like seriously, very very close to Kyoto City Hall. Like if anyone asks, if most of the time when people say, あなたどこに住んでる? 京都市役所の裏の近くです。I will always reply 京都市役所の裏近くです。It's Karen san, call me how today. That's how near my place I'm staying, and my place is really very near to Teramachi Sanjo, and it's not that far away from Gion Shijo or Karawamachi Shijo. This is the shopping district in Kyoto City. And hello, how's your day? And the one thing is that right now I'm just talking about my life in Japan and some stuff in Japan, so if you're interested you can just listen. The one thing is that the next day when they open up the place, when I go out, like basically go out to buy some grocery and check how the situation is in Kyoto, it's seriously very bad, you know, guys. Like when I say seriously very bad, is that I remember when they shut down, when they caused the shutdown, I remember I went to the Giyomitsu Terra, the Giyomitsu temple. I went there is like basically no one. I go from my place all the way to climb all the way up to Giyomitsu Terra, and I can tell you guys there is no one during that moment, during the shutdown. But when they reopen up, when they really reopen up, everyone just flood the street. Everyone go to the restaurant. No, and the worst part is not everyone wear a mask. And even if they wear a mask, the funny thing is that they don't wear it properly, to the point when I say not when they are not wearing it properly. What happens is they either cover the mouth only, they don't cover the nose, or they cover the chin. So basically the mask is to cover the chin only. They don't cover the nose, they don't cover the mouth. You basically the Abe mask. Oh, don't remind me of the Abe mask. Oh, don't remind me of the Abe mask though. I want to forget about that. That is the worst mask I ever got as from in life. Okay, in case anyone want to know, the Abe mask, right, is basically a small thick cloth that only cover like just barely cover your nose and your mouth. It's really small, you know. And if anyone asks me, I would say it's meant for young kids, definitely not for adults. It's definitely not meant for adults. So yeah, it's when they really the Japanese government they really mess up the way they handle coronavirus though. It's really the way they handle it is really bad. And after that, after the late former Prime Minister Abe stepped down, the second in line former Prime Minister Sugo, he introduced something okay, this is really something I really don't like. He introduced something called travel in Japan. So basically, it's that he said that every Japanese should travel to other place of Japan, and Japanese government will subsidize some of the cost. So basically, it's like you can get discount price if you travel for a Japanese people to travel in Japan. And that's where things get another F out, because the thing is that the Go to Travel, yes, the Go to Travel campaign, yes, that's the one. I remember the title now because I can't remember. It's like that was the worst thing to be considered. The one thing that why I say is one of the worst things is because at that time, not everyone is vaccinated. There is no vaccine yet at that time. They never set a limit on people to go to other places. So in the sense that the Go to Travel campaign, what happened is that you are spreading the virus all over Japan. They never even tell people to go to the hospital to check do they have coronavirus, to check in the case they should travel or not. They just tell it's like, you got coronavirus, no, never mind, go travel. It's like everyone, like if a person got the virus, they just travel around. So there was a lot of people traveling around Japan. They're not even sure whether they got the virus, and they spread unintentionally the virus all around Japan. And a lot of people just got coronavirus out of nowhere. And the cases increased, jumped very high to the point that Sugo have to stop the campaign because of the cases increase. And I was actually one of them who was against it. Before I start VTubing in 2021, I was in the forum complaining like, why do you start this stupid campaign? No, there should be at least a crowd control. Don't activate this campaign just because you want to stimulate the economy. There is better way to improve the economy, but definitely not the Go to Travel. And I was like, oh god, I remember, right, I remember the time when I actually have to work for that I have to work part time in the restaurant at that during that time. It really one of the F up situation because a lot of people travel and a lot of people travel around, and for the first time in my life, for the first time in my life, uh, I really fear for my life. I really fear getting the virus. So basically, what happened is that I always make sure that I didn't have the test kit. There is no the PCR test kit in Japan. You have to go to the facility to get tested, but you can't buy it in Japan. So I really fear for my life on getting the virus. Like seriously, last year too. So I fear for my life during that moment. It's like I work, but I try to be optimistic about not getting the virus. It's like I always make sure that once I reach back home, I clean myself in hot water, or I make sure my hand is sterilized, or if I make sure that I try not to touch anything that if I touch anything on the outside, I have to make sure that once I reach back home, I need to check do I have fever. Like I always do a check on my temperature. Do I get a fever or not? It's like it's really I was very paranoid during that moment that of time. It's like I really fear for my life of getting the coronavirus. So Japan only meant for holiday, not for working or living. It's the same thing for Singapore. Takehiro-san. Singapore, I will say the same thing. Singapore is only for holiday, not for work and or living. Actually, I would say it depends on individual people. For me, I live in Japan for 5.5 years. I don't mind living in Japan. As for work-wise, it depends on the work I will have to work in. What kind of work I will be working in, and I can assure you, it's the same thing for any country. It's the same thing for any country, and often more than not, like for me, for a person who has stayed in Singapore for majority of my life, I can assure you is that I wouldn't say I hate it. I don't hate my homeland. I don't hate living. I don't hate I don't hate my country. Don't get me wrong. I like my country. I like Singapore culture. I like the people. I have a lot of friends in Singapore. I do like the Singapore food. But at the same time, for me, right, I also like Japan culture. I like the Japanese food. I like the Japanese lifestyle. So in a sense, it's that between Singapore and Japan, to me, right, I don't see much difference. There is not much difference. There's really not much difference between Singapore and Japan lifestyle. But in the sense, there's still few differences between Singapore and Japan. So it depends at the same time. So I'm not saying like whether I would like working in Japan or not. I have worked in Singapore. I have worked in part time in Japan. So it kind of like I got both experience, and I can tell you guys that the working experience between Singapore and Japan is that in Singapore, the difference about there's not much different. When I say not much different, is that because is that in Singapore, working overtime is not unheard of. In Singapore, there is such thing called overwork. You know, Takehiro-san. In Singapore, we do have overwork issue. And the thing is, we also don't really often get overtime pay in Singapore if you work overtime. And when I say work overtime, it's like sometimes some of my friends, right, they will bring their work home to work. You know, they will bring back the work to do like work at home instead. Even though when they go back home, they should be resting. No, they just bring the work home and then work at home. There are such cases in Singapore. So when people ask about the life in Japan and in Singapore, it's like a lot of Singaporeans, what they will do, right, is that they have the what we call the board top mentality, which basically we translate as we don't care. So when the person reach that state, it's basically they are burned out already. So basically when they are off work, they will not even try to talk about work at all. But it depends on the work they are working at. And I can assure you guys one thing is that even my sister had suffered the same fate herself when she worked for her previous two companies. My sister right now is working in a third company and she is happily working, so I'm glad for her. But my sister worked from 11 a.m. to nighttime 11 p.m. Initially, my sister asked me, like, for me who has worked as a manager role, I have worked as a office work, I have worked in a supermarket, pet shop, clothes shop, like daily stuff shop. So it's like, for me, I had gained a lot of experience myself. There are times when I have to overwork beyond the working hour, and there is no way to complain about it. And I don't get overpaid. I don't get much overpay myself. And my sister, for her situation, is the same thing. She worked long period of time, and she and during her off time, she still have to reply to her clients. And it's a thing in Singapore. So a lot of people say that overwork in Japan is a thing. Yes, in Singapore it's a thing. It's just that there are some companies that don't allow overwork, and there are some companies that really want you to overwork in Singapore. It depends on who you come across, and it depends on who you come across, which company you work for. So when people ask me, to me I was like, I don't see much difference between Singapore and Japan. That's why, and the funny thing is that Singapore and Japan have working relationship of 50 plus years already. So your company need you to work fresh time. You know, the funny thing is that in Singapore, if you ask some people in Singapore, do they like to work overtime? It's like some work they want people to work overtime. Because some of the thing due, right? Some of the thing due in Singapore is like, when they due, it's like due next day or due in 3 days. It's like the thing is like they want it work very very fast. They want you to have the thing like submit very very fast. And if you don't have it, the complaint will start coming in. The one thing that in Singapore that is different from Japan is that in Singapore, you can ask any Singaporean, most of all will say a lot of people love to complain. But in Japan, you hardly find that, I hardly find any complaint in Japan. I'm not saying there is no complaint in Japan. There are cases of complaining in Japan. But in Singapore, the complaint is really toxic. It's way toxic than in Japan. So that is the one thing that you need to understand the differences. When you are with a management, I believe no work overtime. Okay, the one funny thing is, right? The funny thing is that this is basically what I hear from one of my friends who work in office in Japan. They have this mentality that if the boss is still working, the employee should not leave. And the funny thing is that the employee tend to try not to leave until they wait for the boss to leave. And from what I hear is that the boss doesn't dare to leave because the employee is still staying. So it's like the employee is waiting for the boss to go, and the boss is waiting for the employee to go. It was like, maybe it's just that company, but I was like laughing when I hear my friend told me that the boss was waiting for the employee to go, and the employee is waiting for the boss to go off. But for my case, right, for me, who I work at two restaurants, a Japanese restaurant and an American restaurant, the one thing I can assure you guys is that it's like, for me, I have worked in the American restaurant. When we all close, we all live together. It's like when we leave, we try to live together, and we always have to say the word "sak." If there is someone staying down, we really have to say the word "saki ni shisereshimasu." like sakini shiseleshimasu is basically mean I'm going off first. It translate as I'm going off first. So sakini shiseleshimasu. And we have to say and we always tend to say the word otsukaresama desu. Like it's really a word in Japan. So normally when you go off work, we have to say otsukaresama. Oh, that is good enough. But if often more than not, we also have to. If you are going off first before everyone, you have to say sakini shiseleshimasu. It's considered polite from what I was told, and often more than not, I always when I work in the the restaurant is that in the American restaurant, I'm always work the late shift. So I always do the clean. I'm always part of the crew to do the clean out the kitchen. I have to clean. I'm part of the crew to clean out the kitchen, as well as closing up the kitchen. So often more than not, the head chef have to be the last one to go, and all of us will go together. We don't go individually. When you clean up, we don't leave individually. We leave as a whole crew, except for the head chef who want to stay back to do the last checkout. So most of the time we have to say sakini shiseleshimasu otsukaresama desu. So we have to say that to the head chef. But for the Japanese place that I work in right now, I have worked in the Japanese restaurant for 4 years already. For around 4 years, but I don't say I don't work every single day. Don't get me wrong. When I say 4 years, it's basically I have worked from 2018 to now. It's already 4 years already. So around 4 years. So I wouldn't say 5 years or 6 years. It's just really because it's not every day I work there. It's not every day I work there, so I can't really say the working experience is really there a lot. But I work in the afternoon shift mostly at that place. So basically, when I do dishwashing at that place, it's basically from around 12 in the afternoon to around 3 or 4 depending on the time my shift. Maximum always I work for around. And in the case that I have to work overtime, there are like last year, I think most of you who follow me would understand that I have worked in that place from morning 11 all the way to nighttime 11. It's like I'm not supposed to work that long, but when they are short-handed, yes, I have to work very, very long period. And the good thing is that at least I got overtime pay, which is a good thing. But other than that, when I say overtime pay, it's not like additional payment, guys. It's basically hourly rate. It's like pay by hourly, and the pay is not that much. So yeah, I don't think I get, even when I work overtime, it's not that much of and seriously, if possible, I really want to get a proper job and leave that restaurant, guys. Like seriously, if not I became a very popular VTuber and then I can leave that place. But in any case, when I leave that restaurant, when I work at the restaurant, the one thing is that when my shift end, right? When my shift end, the one thing is that they always offer me a meal. They will serve me a meal. So basically, I will get to eat free meal. And when I eat that free meal, I just bring it. So basically, is that I will bring the meal. I have to say "Gohan itadakimasu" because I'm giving a meal, so I have to say "Gohan itadakimasu" and "Otsukaresama desu." So I will go down. I will go to one place to eat, change, and then bring back the dish, put the basin, let it be washed, and then go off. But when I go off, I can't go off by the back door. I have to go back. I have to go through the front door. So the funny thing is that when I enter the place, I have to go through the back door. But when I leave the place, I have to go through by the front door, the main entrance. and I have to tell everyone from the manager to the boss to the chef to all my co-worker and say otsukare sama desu, otsukare sama desu, sakini shimasu, otsukare sama desu, otsukare sama desu. It's like I have to say the same thing because everyone is working every different places. The only time that is exempted from that is when I'm living in a time that when they are still working, and that is only I can only say in a loud voice, sakini shimasu, otsukare sama desu. Like I have to say in a loud way so everyone is like, oh, hi, otsukare-san, or like everyone got their own way. I can be an indie VTuber. I can be one indie VTuber, but I need to gain more I need to gain a lot of subscribers and followers though. I mean, I'm actually technically doing VTubing right now. In case you need to know, I mean, I'm technically at the same time streaming on YouTube right now, not just on reality. Just in case you don't know, I'm actually streaming on YouTube at the same time. This right now. So, the one thing is that for me, I have been streaming like almost every single day. I have been streaming for 470 plus days ever since, and yes, I do stream in Twitch too. I do stream in Twitch, just in case you need to know. I stream in YouTube, I stream in Twitch. It depends on the game I tend to stream on, and I stream right now. I'm streaming Genshin and Monster Hunter in Twitch right now, which I'll be doing it on this weekend. And it depends on the time slot, and but there are people who follow me. There are still people who follow me, so you don't need to worry. The thing is that I tend to be on streaming on YouTube and depend on, and I can't really say that I can stream every single day because I right now for this whole month I've been busy with a lot of stuff, and I'm still creating I'm still editing the Japanese video on teaching people how to read and write hiragana and katakana. The video is I'm still preparing the video because once that happens, I'll be uploading every video every single day very very fast because I really want to set the video on teaching people how to read and write hiragana like really very very fast. I'm still setting up the video, that's the thing. So I mean, the funny thing is that when I first started VTubing, before I start VTubing, right, I was a live streamer on reality. I was just a live streamer on reality. I mean, before I became a live streamer, I did stream back in 2019. So if anyone go and trace back all the way back to my first video in it was I believe it was Monster Hunter when I first played Monster Hunter World. I was playing Monster Hunter World for the first time, and I was streaming just using my voice. There was no avatar, there was no nothing. I was just basically my voice, and I was streaming like every single night. I was playing long hours, and yeah, it was. Oh, and then I switched to Monster. I stream our there was a few times I streamed Genshin. Wow, you stay in Japan very long, like working holiday. Yeah, something like that. But at the same time, different though. I mean, like I stream on my off time, which is basically the morning and the night time. Afternoon, I do other stuff. Sometimes I have to look for stuff, or sometimes I have to work part time. So yeah, it depends on the situation though. I mean, most of the time I have to work part time in the afternoon. So often more than not, I can't just I mean I have to pay for my rent. I need to have some I need at least some sort of how to say it, money to spend to buy some stuff though. if I don't have money to spend to buy some stuff, I won't be able to buy games though. I mean, like just recently I only saved enough money to buy the Project Diva though. The next game I'm gonna buy is the Soul Hackers. The Soul Hacker 2, I'm gonna get the game. I mean, like I'm really a huge fan of Shin Megumi Tensei, so I really want to get the game as soon as possible. But the one thing is that when I first started VTubing, when I was first streaming in when I first start streaming in 2021 April 7, I can remember the exact date when I first start streaming in Variety. At that time, I would actually really call myself a liver. At the time, it was it was called not live streaming. It was actually called a liver. So basically, what happened is that I stream on a daily basis, and at the time, Variety wasn't catered for global. It was basically everyone is Japanese. So at the time I actually streamed speaking in Japanese. I was actually speaking in Japanese. I know some of you know that I can speak very well in Japanese. But the thing is that I wasn't that good in Japanese. So I'm still not that good in Japanese. I'm still learning. But I can assure you guys that having lived in Japan and learning Japanese for 7-8 years already, I think I can say at least 8 years, my level of Japanese is still, to me, is still alright. It's still able on the conversation level, but there are some words that I still struggle with, like the kanji of Japan. The kanji is still one of the hardest one I have issue with. I know a lot of Japanese people told me it's like, yeah, kanji is very hard, but yeah, I still want to make sure that I learn all Japanese words. But I can assure you guys that yeah, when I first start streaming, I will only speak in Japanese. It was only later on when I start having English speaker who come to my podcast that I translate from Japanese to English. So basically, at the time, I actually, in my podcast I speak both Japanese and English at the same time. And then slowly, when I finally got a laptop, like a new laptop, because I saved a lot and I worked a lot of part time just to get the new laptop. So the first thing I got was a new laptop, so I can do live stream right now. So basically, what you guys see is that I'm using the laptop to stream. And when I start streaming, right, it was the moment when, at that time, why I've been speaking mostly in English is that because. But then I only have mostly English speaker in my podcast. I don't have much of the Japanese people who come to my podcast. Sometimes they still sometimes I go to their podcast to speak with them. They still know that I still speak in Japanese. But often more than not, yeah, I sometimes interact with them, sometimes I don't. It just depends on the situation. But I've been doing my stream lately, and they are aware that I've been streaming mostly in English. That I have been just streaming just in English. I can join Holo Live. So I say this out loud. Takehiro-san, let's just say that I had applied to Holo Live. I have applied to Holo Live, or Holo Star to be exact, 6 times. I had applied to Holo Live or Holo Star 6 times. I can assure you that. First, 3 times last year and 3 times this year. And yeah, apparently if I can't get in, I guess I really not. I was thinking, so I was thinking of giving up on do it again. Yeah, I will do it again. Don't worry, I will do it again. To be honest, I was thinking of giving out on Holo Live. To be honest, though, I was thinking of maybe applying for other places. I mean, that before when I did apply for, I did went for an audition somewhere in January, but not it wasn't Holo Live covered at the time. It was another company, and I couldn't even enter in because they wish to have a proper Japanese, not they wish to have a proper Japanese person, and I was like, Okay, 了解です。Nishi Sanji, I did apply for Nishi Sanji too, just in case you need to know. I think I applied Nishi Sanji twice. They didn't. And the thing is that Hololive audition is open every single day, but Nishi Sanji audition is open when they request for it though. So when Nishi Sanji open up again, I might apply for them one more time. But for the Hololive, just in case you need to know, Hololive apparently they have a cutout time. I cannot apply every single time. If I keep on spamming the application, like they say you have to apply only around 2-3 weeks later, 2-3 months later. You cannot apply it again and again. If you apply again and again, they will block me out. So I don't dare to. And I actually aware they are looking into my. I know the Hololive had looked into my video and my data, but 1 month have passed. They never give me a reply, so I guess I'm not in their list then. But don't worry, I will still apply for them again one more time just in case. But yeah, maybe somewhere in August, September, maybe next month, I will apply one more time just in case. I mean, like a lot of time people actually say, why am I not in Hololive? And I'm like, their standard is really high though. If you guys look at the latest Holostar EM, the first generation Holostar EM, Vsojo you can request for meal segment. I don't know though. I'm not sure about Vsojo stuff though. I mean, the way they do stuff seems a little bit different from send a proposal. Oh, I can. Let me write it down. Send a proposal to Vsojo. Maybe I'll do that this week and then. Yeah, I'll try to create a proposal to them then. See whether they will accept me or not. The only thing is that I have to write a proposal though. If it does work, I'll be happy with it. But let's see how it goes. I mean like it's really hard to. It depends though. It's like it'd be funny if I get into Hololive myself. But at the same time, it is not that easy. Apparently for Hololive, it seems like I applied 5-6 times and yet never once I got reply. Like I still remember the first time when I applied for Hololive. They say you need to have this, you need to have that, and it was really one of the harsh things that and I was like, at the time I didn't have a good laptop, so I know it may sound a bit funny, but the reason when I first get a new laptop to start streaming, it was not because I want to start streaming it's not because I just want to do some streaming, you know. It's like 20 page. Okay, I was thinking of like maybe 10 page though. 20 page proposal. Okay, I need to make sure of that. The one thing is, the funny thing is that when I first applied for Hololive or Holostar at that time, I didn't have computer at that. I didn't have a laptop at that time, and I was like, because of that, first thing in my mind was I really go and work my ass out in part time. Like I really have to work a lot, wash dishes, serving customer, or go and do others, or cook some stuff. It's like I really work my ass out, save all the money, so that I can get a new laptop. And when I got a new laptop, which the one I'm using now for streaming, at that time, because when I applied for Hololive, they say that I don't have a laptop, and it's really frustrating, you know, at that time, because one of the corner they say, what is the spec of your laptop? And I was like, oh, I just said I don't have a laptop, and it's really frustrating because they didn't reply me, and I only can send a video record on, which is kind of bad at that time. So it's really very frustrating at that time when when they didn't reply me, and my first impression is like, must be because I don't have a proper audio and I don't have a proper laptop, and it's really, and because of that I was like, I'm not sure whether is it because of that. So what happened is that I just, let's go and get a new laptop, a proper laptop to start streaming. ESE 开了3块没好处的. So what happened is that I save up my money and I get a new laptop and I start making a simple video, and I actually start streaming. I mean, you guys start noticing I've been streaming online, playing games, doing stream every single day. Right, even right now I'm still streaming. Like, I've been doing this for so many days, and I actually did apply again with the new laptop, and again they never give me a reply. So I was like, what am I missing? I was like, what am I missing? Like, is it that I'm missing my streaming style, or is it that the video is not interesting or whatsoever? So I improve again. 3 months. I was like, I don't want to apply again. I don't want to apply 1 month again. So I actually give like, I wait for another 3 months, like 2-3 months, and then I apply one more time. They watch it again, no reply, and then I apply one more time. Like recent, I think it was like last month. I think it was last month when I applied one more time. And yeah, they did read the video. They saw the video because when I take a look at my statistic, they did see the video. And it's already 1 month, and I don't hear from them. And then you know, there was, and then they released the they released the Holo Star EM, and I was like, really disappointed, you know. I'm not saying that I'm disappointed in the Holo Star. I watched their video. They are very interesting and they are very funny. But I'm disappointed in myself because I didn't make the cut. It's like I didn't make the cut to the members, and I was like, yeah, I seriously had no idea what they are looking for. So I was like, yeah, if I didn't make it into Holo Live, I might as well just keep on Holo Live. I mean, I can still apply. I will still try applying for Holo Star. I mean, like, many people who follow me always hope that I'll get in, but it depends though. To me, I never really hold too much hope, and I had applied to 1,000 plus job in Japan. I had went for 100 plus interview. I had never get one reply that said we want to hire you this role. So work as a host, more money perhaps. Takehiro-san, there is an issue with that though. There's a huge issue as working as a host. I can't. It's not because I don't want to, it's because my visa doesn't allow me to do this. We don't if I work as a host and if I get caught, I'm definitely 100% get deported back to Singapore, you know. So yeah, I don't want to risk it. No, the thing is, the visa doesn't, no matter, I did apply for a work visa. I did ask them the visa. They said no matter what kind of visa you have, you can't work as a whole in Japan. That's the thing. It's not about what visa type. It's that no matter what kind of visa, I was told you can't work as a whole. Even karaoke, it's that, as I was told that they I'm not sure about karaoke bar. I mean, I applied to work in a karaoke bar before, but as long as night host, 100% they don't allow. Even pachinko, I even tried asking, can I work in pachinko? Apparently also cannot. like pachinko shop, anything that is gambling or anything that is night or even izakaya. I can't even work in izakaya to be exact though. To honestly, I can work in the izakaya in the afternoon, but I cannot work at too late though. It's like sounds so weird though. I don't understand. But the thing is that it's apparently in the black and white, so I just to be safe, I don't dare to go against it though. What visa am I holding? Special activities. I mean, I tried to apply for a work visa, but the thing is that when I tried to apply for a work visa, they said I have to get a work and I need to make sure that the company said you are hired, and then the company apply for the work visa. Special activities. So basically, it's like this one is basically when you are staying in Japan for reason like job hunting or part time or other reason like maybe you are hospitalized in Japan, that kind of visa. But I've been holding this visa for quite a while. So the one thing is that renewing the visa, right, is one of the things that stress me a lot because the one thing I think I talked about this like last time is that when I was actually busy like the whole month, last month and the early of this month was that I was renewing my visa. When I say renewing, the thing is that there is a lot of documents that I need to prepare. I have to prepare the application. I have to prepare for the able to work part-time application. I have to get recommendation letter. I have to prepare proof that I'm finding job in Japan. I have to show proof that I had interview in Japan. It's like I have to provide a lot of documents, and then I have to also provide a reason why I want to stay in Japan. I have to write a freaking essay on why I want to stay in Japan. You know, it's like, yeah, there's a lot of documents I have to prepare just to prove that I want to stay in Japan. So the reason why I always tell everyone is like it's very stressful is because you have to prepare a lot of documents just to prove that you want to stay in Japan, and often more than not it doesn't take like it's always like it has to take a lot of stuff. JLPT, I'm actually JLPT N2 already. I'm still trying to see whether I can get to N1 because often more than not I've already feel N1 once already. actually I didn't feel N1 once. I feel N1 twice. The funny thing is that I remember when I first take JLPT M1 to M5, I thought M1 was the easiest and the M5 was the hardest. I only realized the mistake too late until when I take M1 and yeah, the thing is I had actually actually applied for a few jobs, and yeah, I still feel some of the interviews. I mean, I applied for 1,000 job, 1,000 plus job, went for 100 plus interview. Often more than not, during the interview they say I fail. It's like I can feel from them when they don't want to hire me at all. So yeah, I seriously, I mean like I did apply for. I mean back in Singapore, I had applied for 500 plus job. I never get any reply. Like maybe some reply or maybe I feel a few interview. But in Japan, I actually applied way more than I applied in Singapore, and yet I feel like 100 plus interview. Like every time when I receive the word "makoto ni moshiwake arimasen," it's like, yeah, it's really つらいよ。it's 本当につらいよ。つらいよ。なんかちょっと気持ちが嫌だな。It's like really it's really hurt my feeling to the point that I just feel numb from all these things already. So for me, I had applied Hololive I'm not sure, maybe 4 times, 5 times, 6 times. I applied so many times to the point that even when I don't get, and they release the first generation of the Holo Star EM, I didn't make the cut. I feel the only thing is that I feel disappointed on myself, and then the next day I go back to my life. It's like I really don't care anymore, really. And I like when I said I seriously when I don't care anymore, it's like I will still apply. I will try applying to see whether I can still get into Holostar or not, or will I maybe go to other type of VTuber agency. If not, the one thing I will do is I make myself famous and on my using my own power and then try to get back at them, something like that. I mean, it doesn't really matter to me anymore because if I do get into them, it's good. If I don't get into them, to me it's like I just feel numb from failure. I really feel numb from too many failures already. I know some people will be like, Ellie, still bills and call me, how's your day? I just talking about my life in Japan and some of the stuff. The one thing is that I really feel it's like the Linkin Park song. I feel so numb. It's like I really feel so numb from so many failures, to the point that I know a lot of people keep rooting for me, and I really want to try my best for everyone who support me. And the thing is that getting a job in Japan or in Singapore is really something that I've been trying to grab. And in the end, I just you know what, just gonna just do whatever I can. If I succeed, I succeed. If I don't succeed, nah, that doesn't matter. I really don't really. It doesn't really matter to my life as long as I can as long as I'm able to provide myself. Because I really feel to the point. I really has so many failure in my life that a normal average person who had given up his or her life right now, and yet I had not given up my life. I'm still trying my best, still trying to do what I can. It's really, I mean, like, I don't really like to say that I'm depressed or make this whole thing sound so depressed. But the one thing I can assure you guys is that yeah, it's really I have do so many things in my life and not able to get the recognition. It's like, yeah, I will try the only thing I say I can only try my best and see what I can do. I can ask Kason for help. I'm not sure whether is it possible to ask her for help though. I'm not saying that she won't help me or whatsoever. It's just that, how to say it, she is on whole new different level. Whether I'm not sure whether asking her for help will be a good thing or not. Maybe, but I think I did. But I think I remember her talking about one advice is that try to do what you can. And right now, I'm trying my best to do what I can. I'm my target. I really reached 100 subscribers on YouTube, which is a good thing. I reached 50 subscribers, 52 followers on Twitch, which is also another good thing for me. But when it comes to modelization, yeah, it's a whole new different I'm still far away from them. I'm still far from those situations. So right now, let's just say that I'm trying my best to see whether I can reach that situation. So I'm trying to provide interesting video. I'm just trying to make out nice, interesting stream topic. I'm just trying to see which game can let people play games and enjoy the game, so that I can talk with more friends and who like the same games. So it's like it's still far from what many people might hope, but at the same time I'm still trying to, what I can say is that I'm trying to see what I can do for now. And I'm not sure about setting up business my own business. I mean, it's not easy because when I don't have a capital to set up a business, it's a whole new different meaning, Open my own VTuber agency. The thing is, I'm not really that good in those sort of thing when I have to find investor. RW call me, how's your day? And fans hello, how's your day? I mean, like, how to to say this? It's not about not. I know if you had investor, it's easy. But the thing is that I'm not that good in finding investor, and I'm not even sure on how to even open up a VTuber agency in Japan. I mean, there was really one funny issue in Japan where they talk about the AVTuber and the try to open in Singapore. You just came back from I mean, like, the thing is that, right, you need a license to open a agency in Singapore, you know. You need a license. You don't just anyhow open. And when you open, right, you need to provide document on what the hell you want to open. So it's a problematic if you don't have a base. So I need to at least have a base. That's why if I want to open up, it's not about setting out my own business that easily. It's really, really hard. Your day is sad. Okay, why is your day sad though? Try to be happy. There's nothing to think about sad day. Maybe tomorrow will be a good day. You just came back from work. Then you should go and rest out first. If not, you do your night stream. I mean, if you have not do your stream, do your stream. But if not, you try to go and relax first, Abiro-san. You can collab with some studio so that you can set up the agency. What's that mean though? How do I pronounce that word? Huh? Ola lali lura? Is that how I pronounce that? Lurus. Lula luli lulus. Lulus. Lula lali lulus. I had no idea how to pronounce that though. Partner with a studio so I can set out this. Just in case you need to, just in case you're misunderstanding, I'm not a Japanese though. Just that I stay in Japan at the moment. Partner with a studio. I'm not sure about partnering studio though. I don't have that kind of connection yet, to be honest. Maybe I have to start searching into those sort of stuff though. I mean, like setting out a VTubing style, I'm not sure about connection. If you are referring to Japan, I only got a few friends, but I don't think those are considered a studio connection though. The only connection I can think of is some of my friends who co-worker, and I don't think that any of them had anything related to VTubing though. No, I don't think any one of them worked at anything, and also, how to say that, even if I ask them for help, they don't even know about this sort of VTubing stuff. So I have never even tell them about I'm doing VTubing, you know. Some of them work in office stuff, and what kind of office stuff I have no idea though. I mean, when they say work office stuff, I never ask them about their work most of the time though. Even one of my friends told me that she worked as a tutor in Japan, but other than that, I don't think of that. You are eating your mat for dinner. Okay, go and enjoy your dinner, for goodness sake. It's so late, Zario-san. Go and make sure you eat your dinner, okay? Although I'm not sure though. If opening out a VTubing agency is that simple, I will definitely set it up right now. Singapore friends. to be honest, I never even tell my Singapore friends. My real life, I never even tell my real life friend about this VTubing stuff though. And most of them are actually, most of them are, how to say it? Most of them are people who work in the finance situation. Some of them are like finance accountants, basically, and one of the, and some of them like work in the cafe. Some of them is cafe owner. Like some of them is really they open up cafe. They own. Some of my friends they own a cafe. Like when I say own a cafe, one of them actually own a few branches. Himself is a freaking owner. And I think one of my friends is work for his dad in a company. Like basically his dad is the boss. So that is I never even tell any one of them that I work that I'm doing VTubing, you know. So it's like and actually I did ask one of my friends about setting out a business in Singapore, like basically open out an agency, some sort of agency, and yeah, then don't sign. It's like basically it's basically you need to have a base, and you need to have a circle. It's like you have to start out with a circle of people who have the same vision though. Franchise. I mean, if you are referring to franchise all these things, I myself had learned this back in Singapore. But the thing is that getting investor is not an easy task, you know. Takehiro. The thing is, it's not that easy getting investor. I mean, writing in proposal, you can one thing is that whether will it work. The thing is that in Singapore, when no one dare to take risks. In Singapore, I can assure you is that no one dare to take risks. That's the most important thing you need to know. That's why opening our business in Singapore is always it's always tend to doom for failure. That's why I think you might not be aware. This is a mentality of a very bad weakness of Singaporeans, is that you never get popular in Singapore. You have to be popular in overseas first. Then you can become popular in Singapore. You don't become popular in Singapore, then you go overseas to become popular. You have to be popular in overseas first before you come back to Singapore. You see where I'm going? That's the one bad thing about Singapore that I hate a lot. And Star-san Kwame, how's your day? Because I have seen a few business in Singapore who failed because there was no market for it, or there is no industry for it. That's the thing. And game in Singapore, right, wasn't a huge thing, you know. There is not much of a gaming industry in Singapore at all. Game as in a game. Have you ever heard of game created by Singaporean? That do you see any PS4, PS5 game or Nintendo game that is created by Singaporean? No, right? Because there is not much market for it, and there is no such industry for it. You can have a Singaporean producer, but when you ask them, they will say that they create the game not in Singapore. No, the thing is, they will not admit themselves as. The thing is that they will say that it's created. You can say it's created by a Malaysian or a Singaporean, but the thing is, it's just only one person. In Singapore, even if there's a data tester or a producer of a artist that is from Singaporean, the thing is, who will go and take note of it? Like Singaporeans. And then in Singapore, will people start doing a job of this? No. In Singapore there's really no such industry for it. That's the thing. That's the sad thing about Singapore. And that's the reason why when I when I first came to Japan was because of there was the thing I want to study in Singapore. I mean the thing I studied in Japan, because in Singapore there was no industry for it. There was no such thing in Singapore. That you don't have such a course in Singapore. That's why I have to come to Japan to study. You see where I'm going? The thing is that it's not about the cost or whatsoever. It's just that, okay, this is I don't really like to talk about politics, but it's 100% most I can it's basically 100% of my opinion. I would just let's say it's just before I get any issue. The one thing is that anything that is not supported by the Singapore government is not considered mainstream in Singapore, and more than not, you don't, even if you try to make it big, they won't recognize you, and then it's very hard to find investors in Singapore. And when you don't succeed or try to get investor in Singapore, then you are doomed for failure in Singapore. That's the thing. And that's the reason why I choose to come to Japan to study and try to see whether I can find a work first to gain the experience. At the very least, that's all I can say. To at least gain the experience in Japan, so that in the case that if I went back to Singapore, I at least got the experience. I mean, I did study about manga and animation. And before that, right? Before I studied that, I actually studied games back in Singapore. But I can assure you guys one thing is that I never really learned anything about games back in Singapore though. They call it game study course. It's never related anything to games at all at the time. No, not Kyoto University. I never go to the university. I studied in the something like a diploma school, a specialist school. I did apply for it. How to say it? It's like I did want to study. Actually, after I graduate from the specialist school, I really want to go to university, but I don't have the cost for it. So and when I graduated, it was so happened to be during the coronavirus issue. So yeah, I don't have the money for it. So I use out all my money for just to survive during the coronavirus. It's really, when I say I use out most of my money to survive trying to survive during the coronavirus, it's like really I couldn't find much part-time during the coronavirus issue. Is that what happened is that during the 2020, right? To be honest, I was really at the end of my I was depressed to the point of no return though. Like the thing is, the coronavirus, right, was already like I lost my, like I don't have much part-time. I was a part-time, so it's that I get kicked out easily. And although the restaurant I worked for 4 years, the thing is that during the shutdown, when they close shop or when they don't have much customer going in, I don't have shift. And when I don't have shift, I don't earn money. And during that moment, I was like, I need to pay rent, I need to buy food. So the thing is that previously when I saved the money for when I save some of my money, it's like I have to use those money to pay rent. I have to use those money to buy stuff. It's like I didn't have allowance. I losing out money. And the thing is that even though you say the Japanese government provide financial and right, the thing is they only provide the pandemic. The stuff happened back in April 20 something already, and it got beyond to the point of in June, July, and they only provide the help and aid somewhere in September, October. And they only provide the money once. They provide 100,000 yen for everyone once. And it's not a lot of money, you know. I just pay twice on. I just use that money to pay my rent for 2-3 months, and then that's it. That's the money still gone. I still need to find part time. I still need to earn money, and I couldn't really earn. I couldn't even do much part time at that time because there was the pandemic make it very hard for everyone to go and work at the time too. So when I say 2020 is really something, I really have a huge depression. Yes, I there is a few times when I almost driven to the end of my road, you know. Uber Eats. Uber Eats was popular, but it wasn't that popular at that time because most restaurant was closed at that time, you know. And as for and I think it was in a midway when I started doing part time. It was only in 2021 when it became much better for my case. I mean, like the end of the 2020 to 2021 when I starting to have a little bit ease out, and especially like when I first streamed in 2021 and in April. At that time when I first started streaming in variety, right? Also the funny thing is that in case if you are talking about Uber Eats, I did apply for Uber Eats once, and at that time, how to say it, I got a very bad experience with them, so I don't want to apply with them again. Let's just say that I got a very bad experience with one of the guys, so I will not work with Uber Eats Japan ever again. I will not talk about that experience, but I will just say it's a very bad experience that I don't like to. But the one thing is that I can assure you guys that it's definitely something that I do not like based on how they handle one thing. And maybe they change, maybe they might, you know, I'm not sure, but I really have bad experience with them at that time, so I will not talk about that anymore. But in any case, the one thing is that I really was at the end of my road at that time. I really went really depressed to the point of no return, and yet I know a lot of people say that how am I still able to stay true to myself, how am I still not giving out, is that you guys have no idea how many times I have given out in my life, you know. The number of times I given out a lot of stuff, I given out a lot of stuff, things that I want to do, things that I'm unable to do, and things that I wish to do. Is that I given out a lot of stuff to the point that I just seriously had no idea what to do in life, to be honest. But at the same time, I'm still doing VTubing, as I still continue streaming, and I still find job, I still trying to do stuff, and maybe if I became a VTuber, popular VTuber in the future, maybe that would be good. If people support me as a VTuber, I'll definitely do my best. The thing is that maybe you should start streaming as being a VTuber. If you want to be a VTuber, you can. Anyone can become a VTuber though. I mean, the funny thing is that I give one advice to a Japanese friend of mine on about became a VTuber. He didn't want to do streaming ever then when I first meet him. And it was later when during one of I actually give him the courage to say he should start streaming, and right now he's a very successful streamer. But the thing is that he's a very successful streamer right now. Way successful than me though. I'm so jealous of him now. The funny thing is that right now we are both in Japanese server, so I'm in JP server. So the one thing is that trying to be an English VTuber in Japan server is, I think maybe it's a very bad thing, but at the same time I can assure you guys that yeah, I'm still trying to make sure that I can slowly gain more viewers in my head. You need to find your niche and strength. I mean like for my niche is like there is so many things that is happening on my stream every time though. Like example, like when I do ring fit, I say I'm not going to do squat. End up doing 200 squat, 300 squat. I'm not going to do too long exercise, end up doing 3 hours exercise. And then and then there is also the one thing is that everyone want me to play horror games. And the thing is that I don't like horror games though. I feel like if I play Poppy Playtime. Poppy Playtime is already something that had me haunt me for like very badly though. If you saw my video, my heartbeat jumped all the way to 145 when I was trying to escape from the mummy long leg at that time. I was like, I don't even want to remember that part though. And yet everyone want me to play horror game. I'm like here saying, I'm not even interested in playing any more horror game, but maybe invite your subscriber to play game with me. How am I gonna ask them to play game with me when I don't have games that many people have though? I mean like there is the Monster Hunter. Some of the people who follow me on Twitch play Monster Hunter. So the thing is that there is a time zone issue. And unless I stream in the afternoon, because actually I've been streaming late at night. I always do night stream lately because I always work part time in the afternoon. Often more than not is that because I got stuff in the afternoon I need to do, and like lately the last month I've been doing is because of the visa, and then there is also I was recording to do the Japanese lesson. So Fall Guys free. Yeah, I downloaded Fall Guys, don't need to worry. I had downloaded Fall Guys. I will be streaming Fall Guys once I complete at least some stuff. Because I'm thinking of actually I was thinking last week, right? I was thinking of playing Fall Guys today. I was actually thinking playing Fall Guys today, but the reason why I decided not to and bring it maybe next week is that next week I will be doing because today I already got a topic to talk about, so that's the reason why I was like decided to set a night chat today. But I will definitely be doing Fall Guys. I'll definitely be playing Fall Guys probably next week or next week, because I've been wanting to play Fall Guys ever since. Just that I don't think I will be able to win though. I've never been good in 1v game, and when it came to mobile game, then I don't think I'm that bad on it, but I can assure you guys is that once I start playing mobile game is that I can become very toxic. I used to be a Dota player. Myself, and I stopped playing Dota, like because the community is toxic. Among Us, I definitely I'll be playing Among Us with Cat and the others when I got the time, because I really want to play Among Us. The thing is that I'm not that. If it's playing the hide and seek version, I'll be playing that though. Because I need to see when they want to play, and then if my time is not crash, I will definitely play with them. League or Legend. Actually, I'm not very. The funny thing is that, right? I used to play Mobile Legend, League or Legend, Dota, Extraordinary one. And then what was the game again? The first one. what was the game that I stopped playing? I always I play a lot of mobile game though. Now that I think about it, League of Legends, Dota is one of them. There is the Mobile Legend. Then join eSport. I can represent Singapore. Even though I was once in top 100 player in the extraordinary one in the Japan server, I just can't do esport though. But one thing is that I would just say that I don't like to play long hours of mobile game because my heartbeat jump very fast. I got high blood pressure, and it can when I play especially like competitive game, yeah, it's really something that I don't like, and I really quit mobile game 2 years ago because of my blood pressure at the time. And also the thing is that even though I don't think my skill is that bad, but competition playing and pub game is different thing, you know. It's like to me it's two different feeling, and I don't. And to be honest, I don't. If I play the game right, I don't think I'm good as a carry. I don't think because most of the time I play as a support. I always tend to play as a support more, and often more than not, not much people like support for some reason. It's like I always tend to play support, and often more than not, they don't want support for some reason. So yeah, I think I did want to apply for an esport, and I won't say which one, but I will just say that they don't want support because they really got support on their team. So I was like, okay, they want carries, they want strong carries, they don't want support, and I was like, okay, never mind. Yeah, even if people ask me to represent Singapore, my age, I'm really pretty old for an esport game because they want young kids. They want 10, 20. They don't want 30 anymore. They don't want old people already. 30 is considered old already, so I cannot join anymore. So I think the best way for me is either to become write my story, a light novel story, or became a VTuber. That's all I can say. Oh my god, it's already 1+ in Japan. I think I should stop around here then. I think I talked a lot about stuff, including my personal life though. I was supposed to also talk about what game? Office work. I think I talked a little bit already earlier, but technology, I think I talked about that. Yeah, I think that's all for today. Let's stop around here. I mean, it's already 1:07 AM in Japan. So for Takehiro-san, if you are interested in becoming a VTuber, you can try. I mean, whether you want to 自分の強いさ何のがあるとかを自分のペースでゆっくり探してもいいけど、でもな、何の VTuber になりたいならゆっくり考えていいと思いますが、でも何の VTuber になりたい、私自分もわかんないけど、でも正直には何の VTuber になりたいは正直には私ゲームの VTuber になりたいかな。そうかもしれないな。正直には基本的にはゆっくりいろいろなの配信やって、毎日何の配信やってるって毎日覚えて、だんだん変わり自分の強いさゆっくり探していいと思います。 I mean, like normally when it comes to find what kind of VTubing you want to do, it depends on what you can find on your own pace, see what's your strength, what's your weakness, and then slowly just go along with that. I think that's all you can do. I mean, like for me, I slowly evolved. I was like I started out as streaming back in 2019 when I was playing Genshin and Monster Hunter World. And then when I start using Variety to stream as a liver or live streamer, is basically I was like speaking in Japanese mostly throughout to a lot of Japanese people. And I speak in weird voice, funny voice, make people laugh, and then afterwards I go into playing games. Like speaking with English and Japanese, teaching people Japanese English, like simple Japanese phrases, simple English phrases. I still trying to teach people how to trying to create a video on how to read and write hiragana, katakana. So once that out, I will definitely mass release them in very very fast. Then as for the what was the thing I want to talk about? Yeah, I think that's around it for now. I mean, like even like for VTubing for me is as long as people support me in VTube, whether in YouTube or in Twitch or in Variety, to me it's like I'm really grateful for people who always come to my stream and talk with me. Is that talking with everyone is what made me feel happy, and for me it's as long as people listen to me and understand what is the thing about, and I mean I don't mind sharing about my life experience in Japan or maybe some life advice. I mean like I really got a lot of funny thing is that a lot of people who find that my life advice to be much it's like a life cheat and not a life advice though. I don't understand why when people telling me that my life, the way I tell people my advice is like it's a life cheat to them and not a life advice to them. But at the same time, it's not that it's probably let's say that I'm just because I got a lot of experience in life. That's why there is a few people who call me Ame Papa, some people call me Ame Kiki, some people call me Ame Koko. So like yeah, there is a lot of before I got called all these titles, before that it was everyone was calling me Ame-san, and then there was a moment when I teach people Japanese and English, people call me Ame Sensei, and then from Sensei slowly became Ame Papa, and then slowly there was even a moment when people call me Ame Mama, for goodness sake. I still remember there was a moment when people call me Ame Mama and I don't even understand why anymore. Okay, I think it's pretty late anymore. I talked for 3 hours already. I thought of 3 hours and I should rest out my throat if not I will have a sore throat tomorrow. So with that said, yeah, I think if anything I will talk more about other stuff tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll be playing Persona 5 Scramble at night time, but in the morning I'll be doing Ring Fit. Morning Ring Fit, night time Persona 5. For now I think I'll stop my stream. If anyone want to ask me about other stuff, maybe Japanese stuff or thing, just drop me a message or comment in the comment or whatever, and I'll talk about during the live stream, and I'll talk about them anyway. So with that said, everyone who are watching this in the morning, have a good day. Everyone who are watching this at night time, have a good night rest. We'll talk again at the next video or stream. Bye!